Okay, so we've got this problem in which if x is greater than 0, the function is f of x equals x to the 6th minus x to the 3rd minus 17x minus 17. And if x is less than 0, then f of x equals all the rest of this. I'm not going to read it. And so we're supposed to evaluate on f being, or of x being -1, so f of -1. Well, -1 is less than 0, so this is the function we're going to use, and this one we don't need to worry about. So instead of negative x to the 6th, I've got negative 1 to the 6th. So this negative comes down here. And then minus -1 to the 3rd, and then plus 17 times -1, and then minus 17. So I brought down my negative, and then in parentheses, I put -1 times itself 6 times. And then I brought down this minus, and then I've got -1 times itself 3 times. And then I bring down my plus 17 times -1 and my minus 17. So I multiplied these first two -1s to get a +1, and I multiplied the next two and the next two. So 1 times 1 times 1, and then minus, so I brought that down, and then I multiplied these two -1s and got a +1 times -1, and then I brought down the rest of my equation. And then 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, but I still brought down my negative in front of it, and then brought down this minus, and then 1 times -1 is -1, and then I brought down the rest of my equation. Now, when I have negative in front of parentheses, there's an understood 1 there, so I put that in, and same deal with here, understood 1. So essentially it's -1 times +1, which is -1, and then -1 times -1, which is +1, which is why we put +1. Positive 17 times -1 is -17, and then minus 17. -1 plus 1 is 0, and then I brought down the rest of it. 0 minus 17 is -17, and I brought down the rest of it. And then -17 plus -17 minus 17 is -34. So that's how I got that. And don't forget, under settings, you can make the speed slower. So if I talk too fast, then you can slow down the speed.